Welcome back to Access. LeBron James and Anthony Edwards. They were Olympic teammates in Paris. It's a superstar showdown in the first round, and you know the NBA loves that. LeBron averaging 24.5 points per game, shooting 51% from the field, 38% from three, just under 8 rebounds and over 8 assists, while Ant, 27.5, 40% from three. That's a career high for him. 5.7 rebounds, 4.5 assists. LeBron, check this out, guys, is set to face his 24th different team in the playoffs this year. That's an incredible stat. That means you've been playing a long time in both conferences.
Both conferences. Yeah, it's a wild stat. I brought this up on the podcast yesterday. Still has never faced the Clippers in a playoff series. I thought for sure the Lakers and Clippers might draw each other this year. Did not happen. Still might. It still could. Still could. It didn't happen the first round anyway. But yeah, that is straight longevity. And I'll tell you what, Kobe Bryant never got to anywhere close to 24 because he was in the same conference his whole career. Same for Dirk Nowitzki. The fact that LeBron has he had his couple stints with Miami, or excuse me, with Cleveland, and then one with Miami, of course. And then he came to the West for 7 years. That allows you to open that vault to, okay, it'll be fun to play against this franchise and this one and that one. Man, however many years, can he get to 29? I mean, he might have to go back to the Eastern Conference to play a couple teams, but hey, he looks as young as ever. Impressed.
This is a question I have for both of you guys. I'm actually curious about, to get to 29, you had to play, well, you said the Clippers, also had to play the Cavaliers in the playoffs.
There you go.
Which one would happen first?
Yeah.
Which one happened first? Yeah. Cavs or Clippers?
The Lakers are not.
How about both?
How about both in the same run to the finals this year?
It's like the Lakers-Clippers just can't happen. The Clipper franchise has been around since the early 70s.
It's this close to happening this year, too, like right away, right? I mean, it might still be.
For a minute, it was like a 4-5, then maybe a 3-6.
3-6.
Like, okay, this could finally happen. Because I think it would be so fun for the city of Los Angeles if those two teams played against each other. And it still could happen, like
especially now that they have their own arena, the Clippers do. It'd be even better. And
there'll be road games.
Yeah, never leave. All right, let's check out a 5-piece of LeBron's best dunks of the season. At 40 years old in year 22, AR with the oop to Bron versus the Wizards. Valanciunas was never the same.
Yeah, Valanciunas is not a small man, Kobe.
No.
And neither is LeBron James, and obviously he powered through that one. It's funny, in the locker room a couple weeks ago, AR fed LeBron with maybe a lob that was a little too high.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And LeBron was kind of heckling him while we're trying to talk to Austin Reeves after the game. Those two have a lot of fun together.
I think that was when he said about 3 days. You messed up 3 days of my recovery, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bron over his kind of sort of former teammate Mark Williams, Kobe.
Yes, kind of sort of is a great way to put it. I remember after this game or in the aftermath of the trade that was rescinded, LeBron said he was never in here. We were never teammates. It's like, well, that's actually true. You guys never played together. He had a locker at one point.
Yeah, he never was in the room.
Never in the room.
You have to record a game with that team, right?
Yes, you have to record the game to be teammates.
Yep.
But incredible dunk against another dude who's just a big dude. Just a very large human that Mark Williams.
LeBron took flight not once but twice versus Celtics, Prez.
Yeah, Cornette, nice little player. Can block a shot or two, can hit some threes. Way out of position on that one. And then he goes after Porzingis, who wanted no part of it, pedaling backwards furiously. Is Horford also pedaling backwards? There's a lot of backpedaling there, guys. It's a pretty funny sequence.
I call those business decisions.
Yes.
I will not be on that poster, LeBron. Have fun with that one.
Yeah.
Brez, is this the one maybe you were... No, you were talking about a different one, but this one was awesome, by the way.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, I'm sure LeBron is perfectly happy with the way this one went, but he had to time it. It was almost like he was in the corner of the end zone. You see him looking, timing. He's got the hands up. He's trying to get it in the end zone of the 10 right there.
Can we talk about the play by AR in this one, too?
So casual. Just the
around the back,
under...
Yeah.
He's been so fun to watch this entire year.
Look at around the back from the left to the right, and then toss with the right-handed scoop.
I wish basketball came that easy.
Speaking of left to the right, Brez, right to the left. Here we go. Switch. Oh! Stop it.
Yeah, that one even caught me off guard. Like
in real time, this one's insane.
Yeah, and Derek Lively, good young center with springs in his legs. Too late. LeBron got him.
One of my favorite things about a lot of these dunks is that it's against big men. And like something like in the Boston one, like, but the big men retreated. Don't really appreciate that. But I like the fact that he's going after, guys, like bigger guys. Going after guys. Say, hey, maybe you're 22, but I can still hang with you.
Still do it.
I can still hang with you.
Part of the mental
Changing of the hands.
Changing the hands is ridiculous.
Mental warfare that goes on. All right, coming up, more on the Timberwolves.
Terms of his looks, just because of the way they come. But yeah, having 3 guys average 20 for a whole series, that's a tall challenge.
I'm sensing this is coming down to Reeves because I think we all know what Luka and LeBron will probably do. We'll all average at least 20 points. What the numbers is, Brez? Do you agree with Kobe?
I'm in the same neighborhood. I'm going to go with the 4. A lot of respect to the Minnesota defense. And I think in this series, there's going to be some 99, 97 type of games, 105 to 101. It's not going to be like a crazy 129 to 128. I just think it's going to be a low scoring. And for that reason, again, Minnesota just outside the top 5 defensively. It's going to be hard to get 3 guys 20 a game.
All right, Brez, you're up first. Number 2, Donte DiVincenzo will be the primary X factor for the T-Wolves. What the numbers is?
I'm going to put a 9 on this. I really like this because, he was not good 5 months ago for this team. He was not the same guy who played so well for the Knicks last season, and I thought was as big, maybe not as big of a piece as Julius Randle in the Karl-Anthony Towns trade, but he was a nice second piece, and we did not see that for a while. And then he got hurt, and then he came back, and now it's like old Knicks Donte DiVincenzo. What can I say his name? Donte
DiVincenzo.
DiVincenzo.
I'll save you, DiVincenzo.
Donte DiVincenzo.
Go ahead, Kobe, jump in there. Save him.
I will save him by saying it will be a 2 because I can think of other X factors top of my head. We talked about Julius Randle, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and I'll say why. I think Donte is a very good player. This actually is less about Donte, more about what I think the Timberwolves will need. I think they're going to need a lot from Nickeil Alexander-Walker in terms of defense against Austin and defense against maybe even Luka at times.
Great matchup.
He's the guy who I'm watching in terms of disruptiveness, especially if the Lakers are able to pick on Mike Conley.
How do you say his name?
Kobe.
Nickeil
Jackson Hayes
Alexander-Walker
will have a role in this series. It's a good one.
Give that an 8. I give that an 8. He will have a role. And I think an important role because I talked about the small ball earlier. I think that's going to be the way that Lakers need to win this series. But they also need to be able to rely on a big man to play 15, 20, maybe more than 20 minutes in certain matchups against, Rudy Gobert.
Rebounding, block shots.
Block shots, rim presence.
Yep.
Like, you just need that style of player against a team like Minnesota, especially if they are playing, drop or sitting 2 to the ball against Luka. So,
Brez?
I'm a little less confident than your 8. I'm going to go with a 6 on this one.
Dropping it.
And it's because I don't know if Rudy Gobert is going to be on the floor as often as he's used to. I think the Lakers will find a way to kind of get him a little iced. And what does that mean? Well, it means probably less time for Jackson Hayes. So if Jackson doesn't play a big role in this series, I think it's a good sign for the Lakers. So I think that means Rudy Gobert has kind of been decaffeinated a little bit.
Brez, you to go first on this one, and it's the most important one. T-Wolves and Lakers series will go 7 games.
I'm going to do a 2 on this. That seems 7 games.
Tell us why. What do you have?
Yeah, that seems really high. I initially said Lakers in 5 yesterday. I've been thinking about it a little bit more. It could go 6. I just don't think it goes 7. I think
Lakers in 6.
Yeah, I think Lakers in 6. I'm going to go Lakers in 5.5. That's my over-under, 5.5. Tomorrow I'll probably think 6. Today I'm thinking 5 or 6. I have no idea. I don't see a universe where it goes 7. I just don't,
Kobe?
I love the universe in which the Lakers beat the Timberwolves so bad. They just cut game 6 into half and just we're calling it right here.
We'll go home.
Like a youth soccer game or a youth baseball game.
Mercy rule in
the NBA. I love it. I will go with 4 just because the more I talk about the series, the more I think about the series, I'm kind of with Lakers in 6. And there are certain ways that I think Minnesota could exploit what the Lakers do or take advantage of what the Lakers do. Like, they're a good matchup for the Lakers.
You have Lakers in 6?
I do have Lakers in 6.
All right, if the Lakers defeat the T-Wolves, they will face the Warriors in the second round, meaning Houston is out. What the numbers is, Kobe?
The number is 7. The number is 7 because I do believe that Golden State will beat the Rockets.
Wow.
I think the Rockets, again, are a tough matchup for the Warriors. We can say this a lot in the West.
Yeah.
Tough matchup for the Warriors, but I think the Warriors, that Jimmy Butler piece, Steph Curry seems to be heating up right now.
Yeah.
It should be Lakers-Warriors second round.
Brez, what do you got?
I'm going with a 9 on this.
Yep.
Don't forget Draymond. He's been around a lot. They messed around a little bit in the play-in game against Memphis. They were up 20, and then all of a sudden they're up 2.
That was crazy.
I mean, what happened there? Yeah, I just think that the veteranism, as our friend Robert Ory would say, and the specialists on the Golden State team.
Hey, guys.
James, relax a little bit. Work on your go to practice a little bit.
Go to practice. Work on some preview stuff before.
Work on your typing.
Yeah, I gotta
get your flight itinerary ready. What she was doing at practice today. Kobe was getting his flights to Minnesota.
So we were waiting for the schedule to be announced.
Yeah.
And when the Warriors game ended,
there it is.
The games came out, and here is a look at your first 4. 5:30 on ABC Saturday night. We'll have the pre and post for you. Tuesday, we're going to be down there. The pre-halftime and post there, 7 p.m. kickoff. Game 3 and 4 will be in Minnesota. That's a 6:30 game on Spectrum Sportsnet. And then, Brez, I believe that's a Sunday game. Yes, 12:30 on ABC. After practice, J.J. Redick spoke about the confidence Luka has heading into the postseason.
He thinks that there's not a person in the world that can guard him. So I think he takes that seriously, that matchup in particular. So, it's also just the moment of taking the team that drafted you, where your home is, to the NBA Finals. That's a meaningful moment for every player. And to do it on a play like that means a lot.
Just with their length and athleticism, how important is going to be taking care of how you guys are?
Yeah, it's one of the biggest keys to the series. It's just our ability to get a shot. Everybody talks about Nikhil and McDaniels as these disruptive defenders, which they are. They're 2 of the best in the NBA, but Ant on the ball, DiVincenzo on the ball, DiVincenzo in dribble handoffs. Those guys are really disruptive, and there's things that we have to do that are sort of non-negotiable for us to run good offense. And I think beyond just, hey, this guy's ball hawking me, there's other parts of it that lead to turnovers that we just have to have really good awareness with.
All right, guys, your top storylines, we're going to pick 2 each for the series. Brez, go with number 1.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to give Minnesota some due respect. They have the 6th rated defense in the league. Congrats. But can they stop Luka and LeBron? I don't think so. That's going to be a big chore for them. Just love the way Luka and LeBron have been playing off each other. And, it was definitely a question after the trade happened. How's this going to work when you have 2 guys, Kobe, who love having the ball with them? And, it's worked fantastically, better than even maybe the highest expectations. Lakers finish on a good run, take the 3rd seed in the West, and those 2 guys are just almost unstoppable. So Minnesota, good defenders, no doubt about it. J.J. Redick was also talking about McDaniels and Nikhil Alexander-Walker. They'll get after you for sure on that perimeter. I just don't know if you can stop both those guys. It's going to be really hard for Minnesota to do that.
All right, Kobe, what's your number 1 storyline for the series?
Number 1 storyline, at least for me, is the Lakers trying to turn Anthony Edwards into a playmaker, make him get rid of the ball, and something that the Lakers actually did quite well with during the regular season matchups in terms of how they showed help, when they showed help, and getting the ball out of his hands. It's not, Rui Hachimura spoke about it earlier today. This is a team defense that you're going to play against the talent of Anthony Edwards' caliber. So when you do show bodies, how do you get him to get rid of the ball so he's not taking these pull-up threes that seems like he's been making all season long, making these tough shots that, yes, he can make, but if you can get him bogged down, show bodies and get him a little confused, even that second or 2 that he needs to process and think, that can be the difference between, him making the right pass or him, stalling out, and now he's making the pass a little too late. It's a turnover or the closeouts right there.
It'll be a chess game.
It's a chess game.
Every single matchup. All right, Brez, this is a good one here because we know it's going to be important. Lakers bench.
They got to rise up a little bit. I'll tell you what, they finished 29th in scoring among all the teams in reserves in the NBA. That's a little low. What I do like about the Laker bench, it seems like they've had a lot of timely buckets, or defensive plays, or plays that can really make a difference in the game. On the other side, however, you've got some pretty good reserves for Minnesota. Naz Reid, 6th man of the year last year. All he was this year was the T-Wolves' 3rd leading scorer. He had a very nice season after banking what he did last year. Dante DiVincenzo, part of that really shocking trade right before the preseason, Kobe. And he wasn't great to start the year. Then he got hurt right before the All-Star break. Right after it, though, he had a really nice finish. His post-All-Star numbers, shot 45% from 3 on pretty good volume, too. So you got to count for him, too. And, of course, Alexander Walker. They've got some guys on that bench. Lakers got to outplay them. That's going to be a great matchup. All right, what about for you, Kobe, number 2?
I mean, for me, number 2 is how do the Lakers small ball lineups do against a bigger, more physical Minnesota team that, again, not just big, but they like to play big. I mean, they have a guy like Redick Gobert, physical, Naz Reid. You mentioned all the defenders they have. Those are big, lengthy, just like gruesome defenders. And the Lakers have shown a high level ability to just play at a great level when they do lean on those small ball lineups. And against teams like Houston, Oklahoma City recently, get those teams away from playing big, either having to play one big or no bigs on the floor. And if the Lakers get you in that situation, it feels like they've won that chess match, to reference what you said earlier. So how are the Lakers able to get to that? Can they get to that and succeed with that against a Minnesota team that's going to try to stay big and play big as much as they can?
Especially at the end of games, if that's a close game, you're going to see a small ball lineup for Lakers against a big lineup for Minnesota.
Absolutely.
Who wins out. All right, more from practice. Austin Reeves was asked about preparing for the Timberwolves and what it will take to find success in their first-round series.
Yeah, I think you just gotta play with IQ. Those guys are super aggressive defensively and cause a lot of havoc on that end of the court. We just gotta like I said, play with IQ, patience, and don't turn the ball over.
What steps have you seen from Anthony Edwards this year?
I think since especially like I watch him the Olympics, FIBA, and all that, this couple years, I think his confidence is very high now. He playing with these guys, he being so aggressive, especially the 3 points. He was the #1 this year, and he gonna be so aggressive with that. But also he can drive, he can put in the rim and everything. So we gotta, as a team, I think we gotta focus on him, of course, and. Yeah, we just gotta guard him as a team, whole team.
I've said this kind of all year. Like every experience this year has been simultaneously different but the same. And my job and my role is different than it was in the 14 years I played in the playoffs as a player. But a lot of this feels familiar. It's just the job I have to do is a little different.
Let's talk a little Minnesota before we get into JJ. This series was 2-2, but neither team really faced each other like they are right now, either whole or after trades. So everyone's healthy and everyone's a go. So it's kind of a new series. We really don't know how this is going to go because it's different lineups when they played. But Minnesota has found their footing since the last time the Lakers saw them. In February, they're 17-4 down the stretch. What's clicked for them, Brez?
I'll tell you what, definitely the bench and DiVincenzo playing better. Julius Randle as well. He had a really nice run after the All-Star break. And again, when you talk about Julius and Dante, those are the two regulars, the two particulars of that big trade that shipped out Karl Anthony Towns back in September. So, I mean, it's going to take those two guys a while. Cat, for his part, adjusted pretty quickly. He's been really good for the Knicks, but he probably had more talent around him than this Minnesota team did. This Minnesota team was like barely in the play-in just a couple months ago, rolling in 9th and 10th and going a nice run. And I just think that they figured out their offensive identity, and they got healthy too. Julius missed a little time, as did DiVincenzo. When you get all your guys together, and they run a pretty deep team, 7 or 8 deep. It's pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it really just goes back to Randle for me in terms of just the steps and progressions he's taken with the team since, getting back healthier. And sometimes it does take time. It does take time in terms of just, you're on a new team, new situation. Mm-hmm. You said Cat, it was almost immediate for him, but that's also different situations from the standpoint of this is Anthony Edwards' team. Yeah. And they already had a system in place, and now Julius Randle's having to adapt, and you miss time. You get back. I mean, sometimes it's just getting into a good flow. You get into a flow, you get into a rhythm. I know that he didn't play in that last time they played the Lakers, but since then, he's been able to get back on the floor. And they're reaping the benefits of it. I think sometimes we forget that Julius Randle is an all-star, former all-star rather, former All-NBA guy who led his own franchise to playoff bursts, to playoff wins. So he's, to me, at least for the Timberwolves, he's the difference maker. Like, Anthony Edwards is going to be Anthony Edwards, more or less. But what Julius Randle does and how he's able to impact the series, that to me is why they were able to make a difference down the stretch and what they'll need from him to start the series. It
is weird because you're exactly right. These teams have not played as they're currently constituted the whole season. I don't remember a Laker opponent in the West playoffs being like that ever. Sometimes you play guys super early in the season. You haven't seen them since, I don't know, January. Okay, but you just saw them a few months ago. even after the All-Star break, when they finally played again, Julius was hurt.
Yeah.
So there really is no familiarity with the top 5, 6 guys on these teams against each other.
And Rudy Gobert was out in that game, too.
There you go.
Rudy Gobert was out as well.
You just heard JJ talk about kind of his role and how it's different from being a player in this league for 14 years in terms of the playoffs, but the preparation and mindset, you're all still in it together. He's well aware of that and how that works. What are your expectations for JJ as first-year coach heading into the playoffs?
He was asked that today at practice. Someone said, hey, you played 14 years in the league, made the playoffs a lot. Anything different as a coach? And he was like, no, actually. And he said a lot. He had a lot more words than I did, but that was the bottom line. He's like, yeah, the job's a little different, but I still have to be prepared. And my teammates, which they have to be prepared too, which are now the guys that he's guiding through this series. I've been impressed with JJ all year long. Kobe, I don't know how you feel about him. You and I haven't talked about him, but I thought he took losses pretty hard early in the season. I remember the first and second loss. It's like, man, he's really taking these hard. I think he's realized you got to balance that too. And I'm really impressed by the job he's done. 3rd in the West, period.
By the way, this is impressive right here, Kobe. These are some coaches that won a title in their first season with the franchise.
It's honestly incredible. I mean,
5 of them.
5 of them. To win a title in your first season as a head coach, period, is incredible. But to have 5 of them to do it, and I think 3 of them in the past, on my math's going to be bad, 42 years, 43 years, that's even more incredible. I mean, I know JJ wants to add himself to the list to make it 6. I mean,
be nice.
We haven't talked a whole lot about JJ together, but I've been impressed with, to your point, I remember, I'll never forget the first loss in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And it was like he was shaking. He was like turning like super red. Just could see the fire intensity. Now, I think that's still there, but I think he's understood and learned how to manage. I think I've asked him about this, learning to manage the emotions of the season for 82 games going to the playoffs. With him specifically, I'm curious to see how he manages the in-between. Like, there's going to be 2 days in between these games, 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And then 2 and 3. And
what adjustments are made
yeah,
against you or with you. Yeah.
Says
Luka Doncic is set for his first playoff series with the Lakers as we take a look at his numbers since joining. 28.2 points per game. He's shooting 44% from the field, 38% from 3, over 8 rebounds, and 7.5 assists. He played 28 games in a Laker uniform. I sat down with Luka and discussed his relationship with head coach J.J. Redick. You played with J.J. in Dallas. How easy was it for you to enter this stage of your basketball career with him as the head coach?
Way easier. I knew him as a player. He's totally different as a coach. But he's a great guy. He knows basketball. He lives basketball. And just by knowing him that from before, it was easier for me.
What was that like? You were a friend, and now you come over here and he's your coach. Has it been different, or
no,
hit it off right away?
Hit it off right away. Like I said, I knew him, and then he was broadcasting, so I saw him a lot, and it was easy for me.
Have you been impressed with him as a coach?
Yeah, very impressed. I knew when I played with him, he could be like maybe assistant coach or something. I didn't expect him to be head coach, but seeing what he has done has been unbelievable.
When's the last time you had a shooting competition with him?
I didn't. I mean, the last time he played with me.
So that was a long time ago. So you haven't done it yet with
No. He don't want that.
You don't want that.
He don't want.
He doesn't want a part of that. But I see you before the games with your assistant coaches. You love when they're doing push-ups.
Yeah, of course. He don't want in.
He don't want in. JJ does not want into the push-up competition. Luka mentioned, by the way, super fun talking to him. He mentioned how easy it was to start this stage of his career because JJ, who he had a relationship with, and Durant Finney-Smith were already in place in Los Angeles. How important will this partnership be in the playoffs, Brez?
Pretty important. Yeah, I mean, by the way, I love that interview. Good stuff there, Guy.
Thanks, buddy.
And I think Luka has really handled himself well. Obviously, tough to be uprooted like he was. Shocked not just the whole NBA world, but more importantly, Luka Doncic was surprised by the trade. And he's reacted well. And you know who else has reacted well this year? J.J. Redick. If you go back to the preseason roster, 7 of the 15 Lakers are not here anymore. They were either traded or cut or whatever. And JJ's had to completely help restructure this team on the fly going back to February 1st. And it's working. And so, those two are just like hand in glove right now with each other. It is all good.
I mean, that's the kind of chemistry, the kind of synergy you need between head coach and star player. Lead ball handler at that, not just star player, the guy who's going to be out there orchestrating the offense, making most of the decisions.
And it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes it's like, who's this guy? But I don't get that indication at all.
Yeah, because they developed that relationship, you know, in Dallas. I mean, the funny thing is that also Luka went on his podcast twice. So obviously the evolution of the relationship happened while JJ was not a coach, not a player, just in the past few years. So that's part of coaching, to build those relationships, to have that familiarity, to have that synergy. So when you make a stunning trade for said superstar, you guys already have that built-in dynamic. So you guys can just go from there. And yes, it's going to be different than when you guys were teammates, or when he was having you on his podcast and y'all was just talking or having a good conversation. But that background, that familiarity, that has to help. And then that does help when you guys are trying to make a playoff run. Speaking
of familiarity, and by the way, both teams are different. Minnesota's different, and he's not with Dallas anymore. But Luka's familiar with these Minnesota Timberwolves. He had a great series last year. He had that big shot over Gobert, famous shot over Gobert. And, Brez, you mentioned they're 6th best defense in the league. Will be interesting to see how they defend Luka and how that changes game to game.
Yeah, it's got to be Jaden McDaniels off the start. That's my guess. A very good player. I will be stunned if he's not first-team All-NBA on defense. But I'll tell you what, Luka really should be drawing 2 salaries for this series. One as a player and one as a Laker assistant coach. Because he's and JJ was pretty honest about this. They've already talked about what Luka experienced in the West Finals a year ago against Minnesota. And obviously different team, different players around him at that point. But it's good to tap into a mind like Luka's and say, all right, so how'd you take care of these guys last year in a playoff series?
And Kobe, Perez brings up a great point too. Like, listen, when Boston plays Luka and LeBron, they're going to try to defend him one-on-one. They don't have to double him, but a lot of other teams you'll see try to get the ball out of his hands. Minnesota, they could either McDaniels, they can throw 2 guys at him, drop coverage with Rudy. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle Luka in this regard as well, because it could change all the time.
It can change all the time, and that's something I'm very fascinated by too. I agree with you that I do believe that they're going to come out with Jaden McDaniels as the primary Luka defender, they have to. But last year what we saw when it was Minnesota versus Dallas is that as the series went on, got a little less Jaden McDaniels, a little bit more Anthony Edwards, a little bit more slow-mo. So and obviously they don't have slow-mo anymore on the team, but I'm interested to see, like, as the series goes on, because as good as Jaden McDaniels is as a defender, Luka's got just a little bit more heft on him, a little bit more strength. He can move him around a little bit.
Get him in foul trouble.
Get him in foul trouble. And that's the other thing. I also can see why, because you can see from last year, when they did put Anthony Edwards on Luka Doncic, guess what happened?
Yeah.
The fouls went up.
Yeah.
So I wonder if maybe they learned from last year and they were like, all right, we're going to start with Jaden